So yeah, we're in Canto 7, chapter number 4, entitled Hiraṇyakāśipu Terrorizes the Universe. So last week you would have done chapter 3, when Lord Brahma was granting these boons towards the end, when Lord Brahma is granting these boons to Hiraṇyakāśipu, after he did so much austerity, and that austerity um, was disturbing the earth. And because it was disturbing the planets, the universe so much, Lord Brahma came to calm things down, and Hiranyakashipu asked for these boons. He could not grant Hiranyakashipu immortality, but he could grant him all of what Hiranyakashipu thought would be the same as immortality, not to be killed day or night or by man or animal, etc. So we'll continue from that into chapter number 4. So we'll just chant the invocation prayers and then we'll have a little discussion. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So here in the 4th chapter of the 7th canto, Hiranyakashipu is a really good example of what not to do, how not to be. We have so many examples of how to be. We also have examples of how not to be. So Lord Brahma at the beginning grants these benedictions that Hiranyakashipu asks for. He then departs, and then what Hiranyakashipu does is he starts to show, it's described, he starts to show this envy or displays this envy towards Vishnu. And what is this? Well, he couldn't forget that Vishnu killed his brother Hiranyaksha. Even though Hiranyaksha was a terrible demon, Hiranyaksha was causing so much disturbance, he couldn't let go that Vishnu killed Hiranyaksha. And sometimes we have this in our life. We may have experienced another person who has caused us a lot of trouble, who's caused us disturbance, who's caused us difficulty, and we may see them successful, we may see them happy, we may see them in good association, we may see them doing devotional service. How dare they? How dare they be advancing in spiritual life after they hurt me so badly? And we can't let it go. And because we can't let it go and we build up some resentment within ourselves, our Krishna consciousness is very much disturbed. and it becomes more of a heart full of hatred. And and this is very disturbing for one's advancement in spirituality, in spiritual life, in connection with Krishna. Hiranyakashipu is an example of someone who just couldn't let go, and he built up so much resentment, and he wanted to. All he was thinking was revenge, 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 and having revenge mentality never really helps us. So it's important to go on a path of forgiveness, to try and forgive those that have hurt us, so that we can actually set ourselves free, so that we can practice our spiritual life properly. See, when we're leaving our body, we don't want to be thinking about the person that hurt us. We want to be thinking about going back to Krishna. If we think about the person that hurt us, we're going to come back looking like, acting like, being exactly like the person that hurt us. Because Krishna says in the Gita that whatever we think of at the time of death, that's what you're going to, that's where you're going to go. So if we're going to think, it actually works the opposite way. So set yourself free. We need to set ourselves free so that we can be with Krishna. We can't be with Krishna if we have hatred towards someone. Now, forgiving someone doesn't mean we have to forget everything they've done to us, because actually, by remembering um, what that person is capable of, remembering the pain that they may have caused us, that enables us to understand how to relate with that person, whether we need to keep a distance with them. Forgiving doesn't mean you have to be back in a relationship with someone that's abusive. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we have to forget everything they've done. Forgiveness means letting go so that we can freely practice bhakti, and maybe remembering what they have done, not in a resentful way, but just in a way of knowledge, in a way of not understanding, a way of learning that, okay, this person, I'll respect them from a distance, but I'll still respect them because they're still trying to practice spiritual life in their own way, but I'll keep a distance. Or maybe that person has shown and displayed so much repentance, has shown so much sorrow, and we were just being difficult ourselves in repairing the relationship. Maybe actually it's time to actually rebuild the relationship because that person has shown that actually they're sorry for what they've done. And in this way, in this way, we can just start to let go of the blocks in our heart that might just be blocking our loving relationship with the Lord. Hiranyakashipu was blocked, totally blocked from having a loving relationship with the Lord because of his vengeful mentality. It just all he was thinking was revenge, revenge, revenge. And he got all this power from from um, from his austerities that Lord Brahma gave him, that he actually took control of the whole universe. He got all the power from all the planets. He had all this heavenly opulence. The demigods were even fearful of him. The demigods were oppressed. The demigods were paying obeisances to him. He had Indra's palaces. Everything was just spot on, heavenly perfect. It's described in this chapter of the opulence he was experiencing. Everything was so. Even the earth was feeling fearful of Hiranyakashipu. In text number 16, as if in fear of Hiranyakashipu, the planet Earth, which consists of 7 islands, delivered food grains without being plowed. Thus it resembled cows like the Surabhi of the spiritual world or the Kamaduga of heaven. The earth yielded sufficient food grains, the cows supplied abundant milk, and outer space was beautifully decorated with wonderful phenomena. The next text. By the flowing of their waves, the various oceans of the universes, along with their tributaries, the rivers, which are compared to their wives, supplied various kinds of gems and jewels for Hiranyakashipu's use. These oceans were the oceans of salt water, sugarcane juice, wine, clarified butter, milk, yogurt, and sweet water. The valleys between the mountains became fields of pleasure for Hiranyakashipu, by whose influence all the trees and plants produce fruits and flowers profusely in all seasons. The qualities of pouring water, drying and burning, which are all qualities of the three departmental heads of the universe, namely Indra, Vayu, and Agni, were all directed by Hiranyakashipu alone. without assistance from the demigods. So these are texts 16, 17, and 18, just displaying the opulence that Hiranyakashipu had. He had everything. It's like whatever one would dream of materially, he had it all. He had everything. But then in text 19, Narad Muni, this is Narad Muni describing to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Um, Narad Muni explains that actually, even though he had everything, he was still ajitendriya. Ajitendriya. He was not in control of his senses. And because he wasn't in control of his senses, it describes in text 19, in spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. As thank you, Dhamendra Proof, for putting that up. So we can see here that Hiranyakashipu, he had everything, but because he was not in control of his senses, he was not satisfied. It was not enough. So having materialistic consciousness means whatever we gain, even if we are in control of the whole universe, it will still never feel enough. There is no material pleasure that can be obtained in this material world that can actually satisfy us. It will only leave us yearning for more, and hankering for more, desperate for more, because it just doesn't satisfy. It's just like um, it's just like getting just one drop of water in a desert when you are absolutely thirsty. It just, all that will happen is you just want more. It will never feel enough. And what did Hiranyakashipu do? So then, because he was so materialistically, we could say, imprisoned by himself, he just kept drinking alcohol. He just kept drinking alcohol. He was always intoxicated. Um, and in this intoxication, um, all the demigods were very scared of him. There was so much fear. And all the rulers of all the planets, they prayed to the Supreme Lord. They prayed to the Supreme Personality of God that please save us from this person, Hiranyakashipu. We need you. Oh dear Vishnu, we need you. Please help us. When are you coming? When are you coming? And then Vishnu, he didn't show himself, but there was a voice in the sky. And from the voice in the sky, he assured them he would come. When would he come? When Hiranyakashipu starts to harass Prahlad Maharaj. When he starts to harass his son Prahlad, he said, "Don't worry, I will come." And then they all became satisfied. The demigods, they all kind of calmed down. They all kind of became satisfied because they all understood that, okay, he said it, it will happen. And for us, when we hear Krishna speaking in the Bhagavad Gita, Mam ekam sharanam vraja, surrender unto me, and I shall protect you from all your sinful reactions. Do we have that same level of patience? When Krishna says, Mam evaye prapadyante, just surrender unto me, and you will cross over the ocean of material, the material conditionings of life in chapter 7. Do we accept? Do we agree? Do we deeply understand that Krishna is protecting us? Krishna is ready to look after us, but are we patient enough? And can we see Krishna's hand? Can we see it? Are we just thinking Krishna's there if I've got a settled family, I've got a good job, I've got good health, I've got a good financial situation? Is that when we see Krishna? Or can we see Krishna through all the calamities in our life? Can we see Krishna when things are going terribly wrong? Um, it's hard. It's hard, but Queen Kunti, She only saw, she wanted to ask for calamity again and again and again. Why did she ask for calamity again and again and again? Not because she was addicted to calamity, but she was addicted to Krishna. And for her, that's how she got to see Krishna. She saw Krishna through calamity. So we don't need to have calamity to see Krishna. We just need to see Krishna. So whatever works for us. The problem is that we don't see Krishna enough when we don't have calamity. And when calamity comes, when a problem comes, we see Krishna more. We turn to him more. We depend on him more. So the demigods, they were reassured. Okay, there's calamity, but Krishna's agreed. Krishna said he's going to come. So I know he's going to come. Now Hiraṇyakaśipu, he can do what he likes. I know he's going to come. I just need to stay patient. So same for us. If in our life we're coming across a difficulty, a calamity, a real big disturbance, a big problem, we know it will pass because everything in this material world is temporary, and any happiness and distress, like Krishna describes in the second chapter, is just that it's coming and going like the summer and winter seasons, as Krishna describes in chapter 2, text 14. Um, and because we know it's going to be, it's going the happiness and distress comes up and down, goes up and down, like the summer and winter seasons, then we just know if we're patient, this will pass, and I just need to stick and depend on Krishna. I just need to depend on Krishna. We need to make the most of our lives while we are here. And the way to make the best of our lives is to constantly be just like Prahlad Maharaj. This is when Prahlad, this is what the rest of the chapter describes. The rest of the chapter describes Prahlad Maharaj's good character. He was cultured. He associated perfectly in the three different types of relationships. So and it's described with Prahlad, with his seniors, he would be very respectful in the mood of service. With his peers, he would be like a gentle brother, very empathic, very friendly. And with the juniors, he was giving them shelter. So this is really important. It's a really important lesson for us to really try and understand how can we relate to others. If we want, ultimately in life, we need relationship. Without relationship, we don't very much feel, we feel lonely without relationship. Relationship is so important. So to feel deep relationship with the Vaishnavas, we need to know how to relate to the different Vaishnavas. And with our seniors, when we see a guru, when we see our Shiksha gurus, when we see devotees who have been practicing, who are further along this path than we are, we can be submissive to them. We can offer our service and we can inquire. Like in the fourth chapter, Tadvidi Pranipatena, that we can just inquire submissively and render service. That's the mood when we're with our seniors. Can I serve and can I inquire? With our juniors, with those that are newer to the path of bhakti, and they may be seeking some shelter, we can guide them. And we can guide them from a place of realization, from our own realizations in spiritual life and how we may feel that they can be helped. But even when we are guiding others, we shouldn't be controlling like Hiraṇyakaśipu. We shouldn't tell them you have to do this or you have to do that, otherwise your life is doomed. We shouldn't try and put our own agenda into the way we guide them. What do I mean by our own agenda? If you don't like a devotee, it doesn't mean you have to pass that on to someone else. If you have got issues with management, we don't want to pass that on to someone else. Guiding means from where they're at, try and inspire them. Try and find a way to inspire the devotees from where they are at. And if we can inspire the devotees from where they're at, try and engage them in service from where they're at, that is the best way. That is the best way. When Lord Chaitanya when he was on his way to Vrindavan, he stopped in Benares. And when he stopped in Benares, the sannyasis, the Mayavadi sannyasis were blaspheming him. He didn't do anything at the time. He just carried on and went to Vrindavan. But then on his way back, he went back to Benares, and he was staying with Tapan Mishra, and he was instructing Sanatan Goswami. And one day a Brahmana came to Lord Chaitanya and invited him to take prasad with all the other Mayavadi sannyasis. Now, normally Lord Chaitanya was making it very clear that he didn't want to associate with them. But this time, when the Brahmana came to ask Lord Chaitanya to come, Lord Chaitanya agreed. And the Brahmana felt that actually this is because I've been inspired from within the heart to ask Lord Chaitanya to come. So Lord Chaitanya agreed. He went, and when he went to the place where all the sannyasis were, it's described. Saba namaskare gela pada prakshalane kori vashila sheshtane. That he went to this place, and he Saba Namaskar, he paid his respects to all the Mayavadi sannyasis, and then he washed his feet where they were washing the feet. And at the place where he washed his feet, where everyone comes to wash their feet, what did he do? Vashila Sheshtane, he sat down just there. In this dirty place where people go and wash their feet, Lord Chaitanya just sat there. And then it says, Vashiya Korila Kichu Aishwarya Prakasha. So he sat there, and when he sat there in this place, he started to exhibit Aishwarya Prakash. He started illuminating this light. It's very interesting. Mahatejo Maya Vapu, Koti Surya Bhasha, and this light, this light, this tej in his body was like Koti Surya Bhasha. It was like millions and millions of suns. So what's happening here is that Lord Chaitanya, he's seeing where these Mayavadi sannyasis are at. They are inspired by light. They want to merge into the impersonal light. So what is he displaying? He's displaying this massive glowing effulgence, this huge glowing effulgence, and they're becoming attracted to this effulgence in him. So this is how we can preach. This is how we can guide others. Where are they at? What is it that makes them tick? So Lord Chaitanya sees what makes them tick. And when he sees what makes them tick, they all go towards him. And the leader of the sannyasis, Prakashananda Saraswati, Apane Prakashananda Hatete Dariya, he takes Lord Chaitanya by the hand. He takes Lord Chaitanya by the hand. Vasha ila sabha madhye. And he makes Lord Chaitanya sit amongst all the devotees, Shamana Korea, and offers him greatest respect. So then Prakashananda Saraswati, the leader of these Mayavadi sannyasis, he's so mesmerized by this light, he takes Lord Chaitanya and he offers him the greatest respect. So what is now Lord Chaitanya done? He's now engaged them in service. He's engaged them in service, and Prabhupada describes this. This is in Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think it's about text 65. And in this place, what's happening is that Prakashananda Saraswati is now offering all respect. Offering all respect. And he's saying and then he says, okay, he says to Lord Chaitanya that, why, you come here, you're in Benares, but you don't associate with us. Vedanta Patta Dhyana Shanyashira Dharma, that, what, you're not studying Vedanta, you're not doing meditation, which is the Dharma of sannyasis. But what are you doing? Bhavukara karma, you are just becoming fascinated with these fanatics who are just dancing and chanting. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And Lord Chaitanya says, when my spiritual master, he told me, Murki tume, he told me I'm a fool. He told me I'm a fool. He told me not to study. He just told me, Namavinu kolikale nahiyara dharma sharamanta sharanam eshashtamarma, to chant the holy name of Krishna. So what's happened now? That if we think about it, firstly they got attracted to the light. The sannyasis got attracted to the light. Then by getting attracted to the light, they offered him respect. Lord Chaitanya then engaged them in service. After being engaged in service, they inquired from him, why don't you hang out with us? Why are you dancing with the fanatics? And then after the inquiry, which came after Lord Chaitanya engaged them in service, what did Lord Chaitanya do? He told them that actually what's most important is Nama Vinu Koli Kale, Nahi Ara Dharma, that there is nothing more important than Nama Vinu, than the chanting of the holy names. Sarva Manta Sharanam, Eshashramam, and this is the purpose of all the scriptures. And this is when Lord Chaitanya said the famous verse, Harenam, Harenam, Harenam eva kevalam, Kalo Nashteva, Nashteva, Nashteva Gatir Anyata, that there's nothing more important than the chanting of the holy name. There's nothing more important, nothing more important, nothing more important. There's no other way, no other way, no other way than the chanting of the holy name. And then they got into this discussion. And Lord Chaitanya then tells them, Krishna Vishayaka Preme Parama Purushartha Yara Age Trina Tulya Charu Purushartha. What he says is that even the four Purushas, the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha, they are just like straw in the street compared to Krishna Vishayaka Prema, compared to loving Krishna in a personal relationship. So it's so fascinating to in terms of association, how to associate with devotees, especially when we're trying to guide someone, rather than trying to control them, rather than trying to tell them do this and do that. We can take a leaf from Lord Chaitanya's book. Try and see what it is that will make them attracted to Krishna. Once we see what might attract them to Krishna, engage them in service. Engage them in service because they'll be inspired in that service, which is what Lord Chaitanya did. He knew that they would be inspired by the light. So then they got engaged in service by offering him respect. And then what will happen when they are engaged in service, they will become purified. And through that purification, inquiry will come. And when inquiry comes, teach them the science of chanting Hare Krishna. And this is all coming from an example like Lord Chaitanya. The Lord Chaitanya has perfectly shown us how to do this. So Prahlad Maharaj is described was also perfect at this. It's described that when he was with his friends, he wouldn't be interested in playing with cars and playing with toys. All he wanted to do was talk about Krishna and be absorbed in Krishna and teach everyone about Krishna, do childhood, do just reenact pastimes of the Lord, and he would be teaching his friends the Vedic Shastra, the Vedic way of life. He considered everything material to be useless. Prahlad Maharaj considered everything that was material to be useless. He was not agitated when he was put into danger. Not agitated. He was put into danger, not agitated. Why? Mare Krishna Rakike, Raki Krishna Marike. If Krishna wants to kill me, nothing can stop. Nothing can stop that. And if Krishna wants to protect me, nobody can kill me. Now imagine being able to live that. Imagine being able to live that no matter what's been threatened to us, no matter what we feel. If we understand Mare Krishna Rakeke and Rake Krishna Mareke, that if Krishna wants to kill me, no one can save me. And if Krishna wants to protect me, nobody can kill me. No one can touch me. Imagine being able to live our life like that. And that's how Prahlad Maharaj lived. He was tormented in so many ways. We all know, and I don't want to get into it because that's what you'll be doing next week, but we know the story. We know the story. We know about the fire and the pit of snakes and all the other ways that Hiraṇyakaśipu starts to torture Prahlad. And this is what Yudhishthira Maharaj asks Narada Muni at the end. So how and why would a father torture their son like this? What's the reason? Because Prahlad Maharaj is displaying all these ecstatic symptoms as described towards the end of the chapter, and Hiraṇyakāśipu just couldn't stand it. That this guy, just like Prakashananda Saraswati, just couldn't understand why is Lord Chaitanya just dancing and chanting like a madman. He's a sannyasi. He's a sannyasi. Why is he dancing and chanting like a madman? He should be doing Vedanta Patan and Dhyan. You should be studying the Vedas and just doing silent meditation. But Lord Chaitanya then explains that actually, no, this is what we should be doing with our life. We should be chanting and dancing. We should be chanting the holy names of the Lord and dancing. But what was it about Lord Chaitanya? What's so different between Lord Chaitanya and Hiraṇyakāśipu? Hiraṇyakāśipu had all this power, but he had so much pride. He was full of pride. All this power, full of pride. He wasn't responsible with his power. Lord Chaitanya was the supreme personality of Godhead. And where did he sit? He sat where everyone washes their feet. In this dirty place, he sat there. Why? Because he said, I'm a lower order sannyasi. You are the sannyasis of a higher order than me. That's why I'm sitting here. And this deep humility. And with this humility, he attracted them. And it's our humility that will attract Lord Chaitanya, that will attract the mercy of the Lord. In fact, when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami went to Lord Chaitanya in deep humility, Lord Chaitanya said, when he initiated them, he said, Aji hoite dunhar naam Rupa Sanatana. He said, from now on, both of your names are Rupa and Sanatan. And then he says, Dainya chade, tumar dainya. Fata maro man. He said to them, but give up your humility. Dainya chade, give up your humility. Because tumhar dainya, your humility, fata maro man, is breaking my heart. Your humility is breaking my heart. So we are trying to become humble. But when we're really humble and we become so humble, the Lord will say, no, 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 don't be so humble. Your humility is too much for me. Your love is too much for me. This is the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. So Lord Chaitanya is displaying humility, encouraging us to be humble. And when we display humility, what will happen? The Lord won't be able to take our humility and he'll just embrace, just like he embraced Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So this is the difference between Hiraṇyakaśipu, who has all this power but too much pride, and the devotee of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya, who's actually come here, who comes here to show us how to be an ideal devotee, how to be a devotee of the Lord, how to fall in love with the Lord. Even though he is the Lord, he comes as a devotee to show us how to love the Lord. And the way to love the Lord is through humility. The more we feel I'm this, I'm that, I can do this, I can do that, I'm amazing, look how good I do this service, look how good I am at this, then the Lord's not so interested in that. But with humility, if we serve Krishna, not wanting to be recognized as a great devotee, but just wants to serve out of love, then the Lord becomes very attracted. And when he becomes very attracted, he'll say to us, don't do, just leave, like he said to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, this is too much. Let's just embrace me. And that's what we want. What more do we want than the embrace of the Lord? So maybe we'll just stop here. This is the end of chapter 4, and next week you'll carry on with how Prahlad, well, more stories about Prahlad Maharaj, what happened to Prahlad, and how he begins to enlighten his schoolmates, etc. But we don't want to spoil the fun for you, even though it's not spoiling the fun, it's always nectar. But it'd be nice to hear from all of you. And please, if you can switch on your cameras, that'll be really nice. And if anyone has any questions, comments, realizations, it'd be really good to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was a fantastic class as always. If you've got any questions, please raise your hand or kindly unmute. So we'll start off with Geeta Gamya Mataji. Would you like to ask your question, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I don't have any question, but I just wanted to say my realization. I got the very importance of the patience that you were saying. Even though Krishna is giving, we need to wait for his mercy, the way he shows and what he does, when he does, how he does. We have got to have patience, and I'm very, very grateful to you for that, Prabhuji. It really touched me time and again and again. Not that I didn't know the patience is important, but it went into another level. So thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank
The
you.
class was wonderful, Prabhuji, as it said.
Thank you, Gita Gamya Mataji. Hare Krishna. It's very important to be patient because we have our plans and Krishna has his. And if we're patient with his plan, we can just trust that he has a better plan than us. So we can just be patient because sometimes we have a plan, we think we know best, but maybe time and time again over the years, we've proved that we might not know best and he does know best.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Shakti Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, I had my camera off because I'm just getting some housework done whilst I'm listening. But again, I didn't have a question, but it was something that just during your words and your class, something came to mind. And in this particular chapter, what's just hit me is the parallel between Hiraṇyakaśipu and Prahlad Maharaj in their strength. Because as you were describing towards the start of the class, you said that Hiraṇyakashipu basically was all powerful. He had everything under his thumb. Even the planets were like moving according to his direction. You know, you can't get more powerful than that in the material world. But then I started to think about then Prahlad Maharaj, who's symbolically a child in his body, but his spiritual prowess and power was so unbelievably strong. You know, out of all the forms of Krishna that have come to Earth, to this universe, Nrsimhadev is one of the most ferocious, powerful, like acute, strong forms. And for him to come for Prahlad, who's embodied as a little boy, just shows his spiritual power. And it's juxtaposed, is right parallel to Hiranyakashipu's material power. And it's really striking me now in this class that those two energies are side by side. One leads to destruction and, like a dead end, foul smell. The other leads to this spiritual beauty and bliss. And it's just kind of really remarkable to see that as you were talking through the class. So thanks. It just got me thinking and reflecting like that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's amazing actually, because Hiranyakashipu probably you could say, yeah, he does symbolize the height of all material power. And Prahlad Maharaj, in a very humble way, symbolizes the height of all spiritual power. And it's quite interesting how one does lead to destruction. Nrsimhadev came and absolutely annihilated Hiranyakashipu and absolutely saved, protected, loved, and gave all his affection to Prahlad. So it's a very, very, really, very powerful insight you shared. Thank you so much, Shakti.
No, thank you. Thanks, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that spoiler, by the way, Prabhu. Okay, Jay Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. My question is around, you just talked about the three sets of people. So if somebody is more advanced than you, you should try and serve them and be submissive. Somebody's junior to you, then you should guide them to the path of bhakti and all that. And these are the very similar teachings that Narad Muni also gave to Dhruv Maharaj, if I remember correctly from back then. But what advice would you give to someone who is sort of on the same level as you? How should we be with them? If you can just give example for that.
Yeah, and that's such an important point, Mataji, because when someone's a peer, when someone's on the same level, the problem is when we try to become better than them. We try to show that I'm better than you. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. And it can get like that actually with a peer, especially someone who's a peer that maybe have come into Krishna consciousness a bit later than us. And so we might start different examples. One example can be that they came 1-2 years later than us, but now they're like a friend. They're like a peer. But still we want to show that we are better than them, or we know more than them, and if the relationship with an equal becomes like this, it can become very distorted. It doesn't become a relationship. So actually the hardest relationship, but the most important relationships in our spiritual life is with our equals, because it's very easy in one sense to guide juniors, It's very easy to be, yes, Guru Maharaj, to our seniors, but with our peers, are we showing humility? With our peers, are we showing empathy? Or are we showing this mood of service? Are we able to be vulnerable and reveal our heart in confidence? This is really important. So I would say, first, always be in the mood of service. Because that's when we're with our seniors, we're in the mood of service. When with our juniors, we're in the mood of service. So always remember that our constitutional position, Jiva Swarapoi, Krishna Nitya Das, is to be the servant of Krishna. And to serve Krishna means to serve his devotees. So we should always be in the mood of service. And then like Lord Chaitanya, so like Rupa Goswami, he explains in the Nectar of Instruction how to have relationship. Offer gifts to our friends and accept gifts when they come to us. Offer prasadam and also accept prasadam. Reveal your mind in confidence and hear someone out confidentially. So when someone reveals their mind, if a friend reveals their mind, one thing we can really do for them is keep it confidential. Don't tell others, oh, guess what? I heard that such and such is going through a divorce. Did you know? Or such and such's son is having this problem, or such and such. And this is a real big problem, actually, amongst the whole world. And devotees, we are no exception because we are also conditioned. But what we can do is make a big effort to keep things confidential, because when we are trustworthy, Krishna will send us trustworthy people to also reveal our mind and heart to, because we might find it hard to reveal our mind and heart because we don't trust others also. But with our equals, if we can have that relationship where we can just, you know, we don't have to have so many, but if we got a few close friends in our spiritual life, a few close friends, even a handful, 2, 3, even 1, 2, 3, 4 close friends in our spiritual life we're kind of like our equals, we can share what's inside, we can hear what's inside, no judgment, being their well-wisher, just being like Krishna says, he's Suridam Sarvabhutanam, he's the well-wisher of all living entities. We can be a well-wisher to them, they'll also be a well-wisher to us. Then we can really help each other on this path of bhakti. When a service opportunity comes, let them know. Don't think, oh, I want to hold that for myself. Let our friends know. Let them also progress in the path of bhakti. Because when we help others progress in the path of bhakti, Krishna will send us help to progress in the path of bhakti. So drop all, I think when we're with our equals, we can drop all kind of ego, be in that mood of service, wish them well, encourage them in their spiritual life, and also be able to share what's in our heart with them. It's a difficult relationship, but it's the most important one. So this is the ones we have to really try and work on. I've noticed many devotees, I was speaking to one devotee recently, he's going through a really difficult time. And I said to him, who have you told about this? He said, oh, just, and he mentioned a couple of devotees who are seniors. But I said, what about anyone else? He said, oh, no. And then we got into the conversation more, and I noticed he hasn't cultivated any friendships with his equals. It's so easy to have friendships with, you're a service leader, so I got people who I can tell what to do. Yes, Gurudev, yes, Maharaj, yes, Prabhuji to my seniors. But if we don't have that peer relationship, actually peers is who keeps us in line day to day, week by week. They keep us in line with our Krishna consciousness because we can just be ourselves and we have to be ourselves. Hope that makes sense, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a wonderful response there. I saw your hand up, so Mataji, would you like to ask a question, your question?
Yes, I was just thinking like thank you very much, Prabhu, for the lovely class. And that's what you discussed about peer group. But my realization is like Hiraṇyakaśipu, like so many senior devotees bless us and we are like successful in life. But then we think we can come to this situation where we think we are equal to them. And then we can be like Hiraṇyakaśipu, like start to demand things and not respect, people and not appreciate. But say I'm equal or I'm more than you are, kind of, and become like Hiraṇyakaśipu mentality. And it's so important to guard ourselves, from this mentality. We always never forget where we are because of devotees praying for us. And that was my realization, that we don't want to be like Hiraṇyakaśipu, because it's easily done, especially in this material world. There's so much competition and everything, and everyone wants to be better than somebody else. That wherever we are in the spiritual path is because of devotees' prayers for us.
Yeah, thank you, Kusum Mataji. It's it's very, very important to be careful that we don't become familiar. It's said that the two services where we can get too familiar and it's dangerous is when we're a pujari, we can become very familiar with the deity. And when we're a personal servant of the Guru, we can become very familiar with the Guru. And then we may forget that this deity is the Supreme Lord, or that this Guru need to be treated like the Supreme Lord. So, yeah, important to be careful. And again, if we're in the mood of service, if we have that service attitude, then it's okay. But generally what happens is we tend to forget that we're the servant and start to become in our conditioned state. So always good to remind ourselves. But if we regularly read, if we regularly hear from Srila Prabhupada, then we'll always be in check. So it's important to always be in touch with the Shastra. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for sharing your realization.
Okay. Shraddha Mataji, I believe that you had your hand up at some point. Did you want to ask a question or?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandapana, yes, I did have my hand up, then I put it down again. Dandapana Prabhuji, thank you so much. I haven't got a kind of question. I just appreciate your class. I just like the one of the points you mentioned when the demigods all went to pray to Lord to come, because they were just suffering with all these nonsenses, and then they said, okay, Krishna said just he'll come, but when? So. But some of them, they said he will come. You see, that was the faith where their faith was speaking. So we shouldn't lose the faith. No matter what kind of situation we are, we should just pray to God. So let our faith to be in Him. And so Hiraṇyakaśipu, I can just talk about myself, in me as well. It's all the time. I'm saying that. So we need to pray. Please let us stay away from these all kind of like anger, greed, and everything. We can't say we haven't got. If we wouldn't have these things, we wouldn't be here. We would be somewhere else in this world. So I like your point, that is to increase my more faith and thinking about just having more faith, not to lose like patience to thinking about us. What is happening to me, just try to surrender fully. And I had these experiences, and Lord does help, definitely does it. There's no doubt about it at all. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I appreciate your class. Lovely class. Thank you.
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji, giving us good guidance on Shraddha, on faith. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sadev Mataji, I think you had your hand up as well. Did you want to ask a question or no? Okay. Prabhuji, if it's all right, I think I'm going to ask questions that are very similar to what people have stated so far. So apologies if I'm sort of saying the same thing. My first question is, in terms of what you said earlier on, where a person has grievance, how do you actually come out of or overcome your grievance towards others? Because it's such a difficult thing to do. Although you yourself are fighting in your own mind to know from your Krishna consciousness perspective, or just out of your own self, knowing that this grievance that you have is wrong, but you're still feeling that within. And so how do you overcome that and become more able to go into that path of bhakti, as you were saying earlier on?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. You know, there's different, you know, if we're thinking about tools of how to do it, there's maybe different ways of, okay, shall I overcome it this way or shall I try and overcome it that way? But if we get to the root of it, and the root of it is that something that this person has done has really hurt us. And I think the first step in this is really to go inwards and introspect, what is it in me that's been hurt? What is it within me that's been touched in this difficult way or hurt in this troubling way? And try and find what it is within me. Sometimes we might find that what this person has done to us may have triggered something that was already there within us already. So they may have spoken to us in a certain way. And because we may have been brought up in a certain way, so let's say we were brought up in a family that was very strict, angry, authoritarian, and then someone speaks to you in that way, what it's doing is sometimes just triggering something that's an old wound. And if we can introspect and try and work out, then sometimes we just see that the way that they've hurt us may not have even been intentional. It may not be something intentional towards us, and maybe something within us is being triggered. Sometimes it could be intentional, that this person has just intentionally hurt us. This person is really trying to do something. But if we do something to damage my progress or damage my upliftment, but if we take shelter of the Shastra, we understand that when Maharaj Parikshit was asking Dharma, you know, who's done this to you? You know, who's hitting you like this? Who's, when Kali was hitting it with an axe, hitting the bull with an axe? And you know, Dharma says that we can't blame the perpetrator. If we blame the perpetrator, then actually we're nearly as bad as the perpetrator, because then we're going to have negative feelings towards them. And then what naturally happens is, if we have bad wishes on others, then what's going to happen is bad will come to us. It's just the way the cycle of karma works. So one thing that can also help us is think like this: I've committed so many mistakes and I've also hurt so many people. And the way I would like to be free of all this is, I need to learn my lessons, but I'd love to learn my lessons in the most joyous and happy way, the most joyful way possible. I need to learn my lesson, but I'd love to learn them in a joyful way rather than learn them in a difficult way. So if someone has hurt us, what normally happens is we wish them pain. We want them to experience pain, because if they experience pain, they get what they deserved. But then if that's what I'm putting out there, I want this person to experience pain, then what's going to happen is I'm going to experience pain, right? Because that's what I'm putting out into the world. So therefore, if I can wish the person who has hurt me to learn their lesson in the most joyful, most happiest way, then what will happen to me is I will learn my lessons. Krishna will give me my lessons in the most joyful and happiest way. If we live a life wishing pain and misery and difficulty on others, we're just asking for a life of pain and misery and difficulty. So maybe just even thinking in that way, that actually for me to live a better life, I just want to become a well-wisher of others. And if I can be the well-wisher of someone who's caused me difficulty, someone who's caused me pain, it doesn't mean I need to become their best friend, because that might not be suitable. It doesn't mean I need to re-establish a close relationship with them, because that might not be the best thing for our spiritual life. But at least I can wish them well from a distance. And that might actually help us just be able to take the next steps in our spiritual life. There's a few thoughts. There's so many things we can say on this, but that's what's coming to me right now.
No, that was fantastic. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Before I go to Sudhir Mataji, if I can ask the second one, if that's okay, Mataji, just one second.
Isn't, like Srila Prabhupada said many times, they say the mind can be a friend or enemy. Then he says like, actually nobody's our friend, nobody's our enemy. It's just our mind kind of dictating that. So if we like talk to our mind saying, no, it's our fault really, just forget it. is our perception, then we might be able to kind of talk ourselves out of wishing somebody bad things.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. The second point that I wanted to ask is, you're always, you said about your own take when you're guiding others, etc. So I believe that you're always going to have your own take on the path of Krishna consciousness. So how do you check yourself before trying to inspire others to the path of bhakti?
When you say, just so I understand the question, what do you mean by check yourself? What does that mean?
You were saying that don't have your own slant, or and the way you were giving it is to talk about a specific Prabhuji that you might not be in favor of, or you might say, oh, this is a very fantastic person. The other way as well, you might sort of say this is a very wonderful person. It's your own slant on things. So and you're always going to have that as us thinking away. So how do you, before you try to inspire someone, how do you actually check yourself to stop yourself becoming sort of partial to giving that sort of inspiration? How do you make sure that you're independent? That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, Dharmendra, it's probably hard to be fully independent of it. But I think because we all have a mood and we have a personality, and naturally, what makes us tick is very obvious because that's who we are. But I think with this, the most important thing is really just think about this other person is not someone that Krishna has brought to me so I can control for my own agenda and my own purposes. So, for example, if I'm doing a certain service, then this person comes to me. I'm not going to just get them to do service in my project just because that's going to be better for my project. And I'll just look after them so that they do the service that I want them to do. That's having an agenda. But actually, if someone comes to us seeking guidance, we can really try and ask them questions to try and understand them. Who are you? What do you like to do? Ask them about their background. Just be interested in it. Being actually interested in someone else's life is just so powerful. And after taking an interest in their life, then when it comes to guiding, try and think about where will this person be best suited in their next step on this path of bhakti. What will be the next best step for this person? And offer suggestions. Don't tell them they have to do it. Don't say this is what you need to do next, because how would we know what they really need to do? And offer suggestions and then let them make a decision. But we're just offering options and offering them opportunities to take these next steps. But just getting to know someone and offering steps and nothing to do with what will help us. The way to check in with ourselves is just keep asking ourselves, is this for me or is this for them? Is this for me or is this for them? Just keep asking ourselves, and as long as we know it's for them, great. If it becomes about us, then it's a bit of a problem, and that's when it can be dangerous.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're writing a perfect answer to perfect questions whilst we're talking to you. So thank you so much for that. So Devi Mataji, would you like to ask your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for today. I am a mother of 6 children, adult now, and not that I create them, but anyway, I got to be a mother for them. I got that role to be a mother for them. I know that it was decided already. And when I see the situation within the movement, how people do things, how people act in the ways, it makes me like see my children, how my children did and why they did it. It's almost like you're looking for more love of your mother, or your father, so you do in the kind of things because you want that love. You know what I mean? Because you want more that love. And when one of the children, one of them, for instance, do very well in, say, sports, but the other one doesn't, it kind of, their jealousy or their fight kind of has to do with my father and mother might love this child more because he do well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it's almost sound the same way, but in the spiritual way. You know what I mean?
Well, carry on. Why don't you explain?
What I'm wondering is, Krishna must have very much fun. He must have so much fun to see this, because I mean, this doesn't happen like very badly. You know what I mean? In a demonic way, but everybody wants so much love of Krishna, and that's why they almost compete to each other, or even accept services that they know they can't do it, but still they say okay to it, just because they think, or they hope or believe that Krishna will see.
Yeah, he does see. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why when some of them they can't do it, they believe, oh, now Krishna doesn't love me because I can't do that. You know what I mean?
So I think what's important with this is that we understand that Krishna loves us and he loves everyone, and the best way to get Krishna's love is also to help others love him. So if you know someone else can do the service better than you, best to engage them in that service rather than you just doing it because you want to be the one that's seen and not letting the other one do it, even though they'll be better at doing the service. Because the person we're trying to please is Krishna. And if we're trying to please Krishna, it's not about me, it's about him. And that's the thing.
Yes, the way I try to help my children, for instance, that I always told them, you are good in sport, but you are good in that.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I say what you are good in the same way. The services, it could be, I'm physically, I can't do anything else, and then sometimes book distribution, I go with a walker, or just read and attend as much as I can classes and listen to Prabhupada's lecture. And I have to also. So this is my service. I can't do other thing because I physically can't. So this the same way I believe everybody else are in the same way, right?
Yeah. And
right? Or I'm crazy?
No, so the best thing is if we engage. See, when Arjun was on the battlefield and Arjun said, I want to go to the forest, Krishna said, look, if you go to the forest, you're going to be a Mityachara. You're going to be a pretender. He says to this Arjun in the 3rd chapter, you're going to be Mityachara, a pretender. Don't go to the forest. Why? Because if you go to the forest, your nature is a Kshatriya. You're a protector. You're a warrior. So if you go to the forest and you sit in meditation, what's going to happen? You'll see some injustice in the forest, and you'll start protecting and becoming a warrior in the forest. But that's not where I need you to be a warrior. I need you to be a warrior here on this battlefield right now. So the thing is, he didn't let Arjun go to the forest. We can't say he didn't let. He did say to Arjun, "It's your choice," but he said to him before that many times, "Utishta tishta Bharata, get up and fight. Just do your duty. You're a Kshatriya." So, and Arjun engaged himself in that dharma very well. So, in a similar way, what's our nature, and how can we best contribute to our relationship with Krishna according to our psychophysical nature? So, like you said, your physical health isn't in the best place, so maybe you won't be able to do some things that other people can, but you can do things that others can't. So we all have unique talents. Like you said, one child is good at sport, another child is good at academics. And with that unique talent, with that unique ability that Krishna has given us, how can we contribute best to serve? And that's what we need to tap into. And that's what we need to help others tap into also. When we're speaking with others, try and find what is their unique, special gift, and try and engage that unique, special gift in the service of the Lord. Because then, we see that if someone's doing what they're born to do, if someone's doing what they're born to do, and they do it for Krishna, they're going to feel happy. So this is what we want to try and do. We want to try and help devotees we want to help ourselves and others find what's our unique talent. Krishna said to Arjun, you're a Kshatriya, use that talent and fight this war. For us, we have to find our unique talent with the help of devotees, help and also introspecting ourselves, and then use these talents to serve in the best way possible. And then we'll also have a meaningful and fulfilled life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.